waiting for? Dickhead, you want to fry me? Then do it, you fucking insect!
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Coming in at a Raven.
Nothing is over!
Shocker was released in 1989, directed by Wes Craven and starring Peter Berg and Mitch Pileggi. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another review. This is Backtrack Cinema, and my name is Jason, and today we're going to look at Wes Craven's Shocker. Now, when I was a little kid, this came out when I was about 10 years old, and I remember a buddy of mine bringing it over, watching it on VHS, and I loved this movie. I thought this was actually a pretty scary film. The shift in tone didn't bother me as a kid, but now it sticks out like a bloody sore thumb. But I mean, Wes Craven really had another franchise on his hands here. He tried to do something a little meta here even before Scream by giving us like the progression of the slasher films in the 80s. By the first half of this movie, it's kind of like the early 80s slashers, the golden age, and the second half is like things got cheesy and way more over the top, silly and goofy, right? And I can appreciate what he was trying to do there, but the real shift in tone, man, really brings this movie down. This movie was so close because there's so much greatness in this movie. If you love slashers, good ideas in it, and we're going to talk about all of it, but man, so close. But I think a lot of you could still have a good time with this if you could shut your brain off and just enjoy this fun, entertaining of a movie. So let's quickly get into the plot here, guys. After being captured for a series of gruesome murders, Horace Pinker, a television repairman, faces execution by the electric chair, but a deal with the devil allows him to come back as electricity. So like I was saying before, Wes Craven was telling kind of like the evolution of the slasher film within this movie. I look at this film as like two films in two halves. The first half of the film is absolutely terrifying. Well, when I was a kid anyway, the tone is great. The second half is where it gets silly, goofy, campy. The visual presentation, everything, it just goes off the wall, bonkers, man. But the first half, let's start this positive, right? The first half of this movie, I love the brooding tone, the darkness. You know, I like the way they introduced this character at the beginning, kind of like going back to like a Nightmare on Elm Street, where you see Freddy, you know, designing and making his glove. You get Horace Pinker, where he fixes all his TVs in his shop and everything like that, and you don't really see him, right? You see his limp and that great heavy metal soundtrack coming in. I love the tone of this, and you know, Horace Pinker, Mitch Pileggi plays him beautifully. I actually think he's a pretty scary guy for just being a human being and a crippled human being. He has a limp and everything, but he's menacing. I think he's terrifying, man. Even rewatching this, I love the first half of this movie. It's got a great pace to it. It's got great performances. You get some pretty decent kills in here. You know what I mean? But the first half, the tone is what I love. The tone, absolutely love the tone. It's just the second half brings this movie down, really down. When Horace Pinker finally gets caught and he's in jail and he makes this deal with the devil where he's, you know, gonna come back as electricity, and he's hooked up to the TV and he's this like, you know, give it to me, and the freaking devil comes out. The electricity is like, you got it, baby. That's when you go, holy shit, the shift in tone. It's pretty bad, but I think you could still get past it, get some entertaining moments out of the rest of the movie. Another great thing I like about this movie is the performances, mostly by Peter Berg and Mitch Pileggi. So, you know, Peter Berg plays Jonathan. He's our final guy. And I like how Wes didn't use a girl here. I mean, Jonathan has a girlfriend who ends up getting killed, but basically we got a final guy. He's your stereotypical jock, you know, captain of the football team. He starts getting these premonitions, you know, having a dream and actually seeing what's going to happen, who Horace is going to kill, who he's going to kill next. So he saw his family die, and when he wakes up, they're already dead, and he tries to explain to his dad and all this. And I love Peter Berg's performance. I like the way Peter Berg conveys his emotion and gets us to believe in his character. It makes us root for him. You know, I mean, that one scene where he finds his girlfriend dead in the tub, also my favorite kill. You don't see much, but that's what's really great about it. It's just, to me, it was so vicious and made an imprint on me. But when Peter Berg sees her in the tub full of blood, there's blood all over the frickin' walls from Horace Pinker, you know, your mind starts imagining, man, what did he do? Just rip her right open? You know what I mean? And just the emotion he has on his face. It ends up being this real battle between victim and killer. You know what I mean? And, you know, when Jonathan gets into it, when Jonathan catches up with Horace Pinker and, you know, hits him with his legs, you know what I mean? Uses his, you know, his physicality. It's awesome. It started turning into like some good fisticuff stuff. You know what I mean? And Mitch Pileggi as Horace Pinker is awesome. Like I said, he's got this real intimidating presence. Wes Craven always let this guy off the leash and knew his talent. And he's fantastic in this. I mean, he's intimidating. He's evil. He loathes in that evil. I really feel like he is iconic. It's too bad we didn't get more movies out of him. I just love that monologue he gives before he gets the electric chair. And this is where we get a big twist in the movie where he's actually Jonathan's father.
That's right. I was beating you real good when your mama tried to stop me with that gun that she brought into our happy home. And how clever you were, grabbing that gun and shooting me right through the fucking knee, you little peckerhead! Jonathan's
been suppressing these emotions, these memories of Horace Pinker killing his mom, and you know, and he shot him. Like Jonathan actually shot Horace. That's why he has that limp, right? That monologue he gives in his phrasing, he goes, "Yeah, you're a mama coming in with that gun into our happy home." Yeah, I just love the way he talks, man. Just a great performance by this guy, man. Just love it. The music kicks ass in this, man. You know, Alice Cooper's No More Mr. Nice Guy, done by Megadeth. You know, the song Shocker, or I think it's called Shock Dance or something like that. Just a great heavy metal score. And at that time, this is 1989, more horror movies were using, you know, heavy metal, and, you know, MTV was big and all that kind of stuff. I really think it suits the tone they're going after, especially when it gets goofy and everything like that. There's actually really great ideas inside this movie that Wes Craven was really playing with that I think could have worked in Nightmare on Elm Street as well. Like, you see Jonathan's dead girlfriend come back, and she's got this necklace that represents love, and, you know, Horace becomes weak. He can't go anywhere near this necklace. That's kind of like his kryptonite, so to speak, right? And if you remember my Nightmare on Elm Street reviews, the ones I've done, I said if you would have brought Nancy back in like that, like this angelic person who Freddy couldn't touch and stuff like that. So Wes was kind of playing with this idea in this movie, and there's a lot of ideas in this movie, but they're all kind of jammed too much into this movie, and nothing's quite executed as well as it could be, but it's fine. It's fine. And the second half, you get Horace Pinker. He can go from body to body with their electrical energy. He can go through light switches and TVs and anything electronic, you know, with electricity running through it. It's a good idea. It's just how they present it to us visually. I don't think we should have saw him. I think when, you know, you touch a light bulb and it flashes, you know, it shocks you. Then he goes into you. You shouldn't have never seen him and really create that mood and atmosphere and made it even more scary. I mean, this one's definitely due for a remake. And I think you could do something with it if handled right by the right director, for sure. I mean, it's like there's a lot of good ideas in this thing. And I like the overall theme of it about death and suppression. You know, this movie deals with a lot about handling death at a young age with Jonathan, his whole family getting killed, finding out that, you know, he was a victim as a kid from his father, and, you know, and his real mother was taken out too. So, and him suppressing all this has all been suppressed, and this comes to the surface, and then it becomes like a revenge, and his blood starts boiling, and he starts, you know, I want to see him die, and really facing death, but a lot of themes on suppression, you know, suppressed memories and death. And I really like what Wes was doing here. It's too bad that tone. And this is what I've been saying on my channel a lot, you know, inconsistent tone. Tone is everything. It can make or break your film. And this movie is a perfect example. Like, whatever I give this rating, you're going to find out I would have given it even more if it wasn't for the tone. You can flip the tone like that, but you got to be very careful how you do it. But in this movie, I just don't like that switch in tone of this movie. But there is a lot of fun to be had with this movie, guys. I still think it's worth your time. I still think it's entertaining if you haven't seen it, but I think most of you have seen this movie, and it has its fans. It found its fans through VHS. you know, it's considered by a lot as one of Wes Craven's worst horror films. I don't think it's his worst, but I still will pop this on. Especially for that first half of the movie. So this is tough, guys. This is a hard one to grade. It really is. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give Shocker from 1989 a C+. But what about you guys? What do you think of Shocker? Let me know in the comment section below. We'll have a great talk about Shocker and Wes Craven's films. Anything you want to talk about that's related to this video, let's have a great discussion in those comments. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me on this video. I thank you very much, and I appreciate you all watching and tuning in, and go down the rabbit hole and check out my other videos, other horror reviews. I have done Nightmare on Elm Street 1 to 4 now, so go check those out if you like. Yeah, and I will see you next time, and I'll see you in the movies. Cheers.